You're not tired, you're undisciplined. That may sting a little, but it's the truth most people don't want to hear. See, real fatigue is earned. Discipline, though, that's chosen. And what many call exhaustion is often just resistance to doing what's hard, what's uncomfortable, what truly matters. You weren't born to live a soft life. You weren't made to complain about the weight of the world. You were made to carry it, to step into discomfort, into responsibility. But somewhere along the way, life got loud. Too much comfort, too much noise, too much waiting around for someone else to tell you who you are. And that's the trap, isn't it? We've been taught to avoid pain. We scroll, we binge, we procrastinate not because we're lazy, but because comfort has become our addiction. But here's the truth. You can't be who you're meant to be if you keep chasing ease. So let me ask you, when was the last time you did something hard just because it was right? Not because it was convenient, not because someone was watching, just because your soul needed it. This is where the path begins, right here, in the choice to show up, to push through, to rise when staying down feels safer. You're not tired, you're just out of alignment with the man or woman you were meant to become. Waking up early isn't just about being productive, it's about discipline. It's about keeping a promise to yourself before the world even opens its eyes. Most people think waking up early is for winners, for go-getters chasing success, but that's only part of it. The truth? Waking up early is an act of rebellion against laziness, against delay, against the version of you that keeps saying, 5 more minutes. Every extra hour you spend in bed is an hour someone else is using to outwork you, outgrow you, and outlive your dreams. While you're sleeping in, someone out there is sharpening their mind, building their strength, walking toward the life you keep postponing. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in ancient Rome, woke up before the sun, not because he had to, but because he knew. I rise to do the work of a human being. Think about that. He ruled an empire and still believed the day began with duty. So, what are you rising for? You want strength? Get up while the sky's still black. You want clarity? Sit with your thoughts before the world clutters them. You want freedom? Take control of the first hour before your phone, your inbox, or your fears do. This isn't about perfection. It's about showing up cold, tired, and uncertain, but still showing up. Because the fight isn't with your alarm clock. It's with your old self, the one that settles, the one that sleeps in, the one you're trying to leave behind. In a world obsessed with noise, silence is power. Real strength doesn't announce itself. It moves, quietly, consistently, with purpose. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't need to justify your dreams. And no, you don't owe anyone a speech before every action. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Let that sink in. You don't become respected by talking about what you're going to do. You earn it by doing it again and again, especially when no one's watching. Have you noticed how often people narrate their every move? I'm starting something big. I'm gonna change my life. But then, they disappear into the same patterns, distracted by the need for applause before they've built anything real. Ask yourself this: are you doing things for results or for recognition? Because there's a difference and your life will show it. When you speak less, you conserve your energy for action. When you stop chasing validation, you build from a place of clarity. And when your actions become louder than your words, that's when people start to pay attention, not because you asked for it, but because your presence demands it. This isn't silence out of weakness. This is silence out of strength. A rebellion against a world addicted to performance. So next time you're tempted to speak about what you're going to do, don't. Just go do it. Let the silence speak for you. You don't train just to look good. You train to become unshakable. Seneca once said, "A strong mind needs a strong body to carry it." That's not about ego. That's about endurance. When life tests you, and it won't ask how many abs you have. It'll test your will, your discipline, your ability to keep moving when everything hurts. And if your body is weak, your will is the first to break. That's why physical training is so much more than just exercise. It's a ritual, a daily rebellion against weakness. You go to the gym not for selfies, but for silence. You run not for medals, but to remember what effort feels like. You lift not to impress, but to build the version of yourself who won't collapse under pressure. Ask yourself, when was the last time you voluntarily chose discomfort? Because in that discomfort, you grow. In sweat, you find honesty. And in every rep, every drop of pain, your body learns. I can do hard things. That lesson, it carries over into every area of your life. So don't skip the struggle. Lean into it. Because the work you do when no one's watching, the training, the discipline, the grit, that's the version of you who shows up when the world hits hardest. This isn't about building muscle. It's about building character. And that kind of strength? You can't fake it. You can only earn it. In a world addicted to attention, silence is a superpower. Anonymity? That's freedom. We live in a time where every move is broadcast. Every workout, every goal, every tiny milestone posted, filtered, measured by likes. And slowly, without realizing it, we stop building for ourselves and we start performing for others. But here's the truth. Fame is a mirage. It feels like purpose, but often it's just noise distracting you from doing the deep, invisible work that actually matters. Real power grows in the shadows. Think of a tree before it ever breaks the surface. It spends years pushing roots deep into the ground. No spotlight, no applause, just quiet, relentless growth. So if no one sees you right now, good. You don't owe the world your progress report. You're not here to prove, you're here to become. Let others chase followers. You? Chase mastery. Chase clarity. Chase the version of you that doesn't need validation to stay committed. Because when you finally do emerge, when your roots are deep and your strength is real, you won't need to say a word. The results will speak loud enough. So stay hidden. Train in silence. And let your greatness make the noise later. Waking up early. Speaking less. Training hard. Staying hidden. These aren't just habits. They're not boxes to check on a self-help list. They're a way of being. A quiet rebellion against a world that wants you soft, distracted, and waiting for approval. This is Stoicism not as a theory, not as something to read and quote, but as something to live. You don't need applause. You need resistance. You need discipline. You need the daily weight of choosing the harder path, because that's where strength is forged. The world will tempt you with comfort. It will hand you excuses, distractions, and shortcuts dressed as wisdom. But you take the cold path. You rise while others sleep. You train while others scroll. You build in silence, bleed in private, and grow without fanfare. Because that's where your edge lives. Not in noise, but in the quiet, relentless sharpening of your soul. Let others seek softness. You seek steel. Let others perform. You endure. And in that silent pain, that sacred discomfort, you become something rare. Not just strong, unbreakable.